What's up guys, it's Eric with Verus Engineering. Today we are going to be taking a look at our Toyota Supra intake duct. So with such a product, we get asked about data all the time. We do have some data on the stock Airbox, but we don't have data with an aftermarket intake. So today we're going into an aftermarket intake because that's what we installed on our shop car, and we gathered data using our intake duct. All right, starting at the front of the kit, we have our inlet. So this is actually what, more or less, it basically covers up a cut as you're installing this. You're cutting into the bumper, and this kind of is like a beauty plate more than a duct, but we're gonna call it the inlet duct. Behind that, we have this, which sits right behind the bumper. And then this is actually the inlet duct. You have these two holes right here, which actually do get, they're like rubber bungs installed into them. You actually bolt through this, and then it gets bolted onto various locations on the car. And then we have an outlet duct right here, which will then, silicone duct, gets installed. And this is actually right behind the headlight for the Supra. Something to note that this is actually sealed to the OEM intake, and as you run, we've found customers above 600 horsepower, they can actually collapse this silicone duct and suck it shut, and then they actually do have a power loss. So if you're running over 600 horsepower, you might not be able to run a closed intake with our kit because this will actually end up closing off, and at that point, you probably should be sucking air from another location anyways, but we still recommend that intake duct, and you'll see why here shortly. So some of you may not know, but we originally came up with this idea of this product because we were doing some heat shield testing at the track, and we noticed that intake air temps were substantially higher than ambient air temps, and we didn't understand why. When we finally removed that bumper, we understood that it's actually this location. So on the car, this location, it kind of goes into this open void in the bumper, and it's right next to some coolers. It's actually the radiator, the heat exchanger. So it's hot air in that area, and it's sucking up not cool air like our unit will do, but it was sucking up hot air. So we were seeing higher than ambient air temps, post-filter, pre-turbo intake air temps. So in order to prove that our intake duct works, once again, we actually installed a aftermarket intake, which is an open filter element. It actually sounds great, and the inner ricer in me loves it. So it might actually stay on the car, even though I believe the OEM Airbox performs better. That being said, we installed that aftermarket intake, we took it to the track, and then we blocked off the intake duct to act as if it were closed off. And then we also opened it up and did some laps. I believe we did 7 laps each time. Ambient temps were very similar, and we did it same day, same track, same driver, and we recorded the data. All right, so as far as the temp probes, we have 4. We're gonna start out at the front. There's your ambient temp. So we got a little bit of, geez, oh Pete, you're all up in there. Yeah, you really got in there, didn't you? So that's getting our ambient temp. It is a little bit hotter than the actual ambient because track temps do actually run a little bit hotter. The asphalt kind of promotes heat, it retains some heat because it's black. So we have that. We have our engine bay temp. That was just chilling right there. We have our post air filter temp. That's just shoved in there in the center. And then we have our Airbox temp, which is down there, which is kind of that inlet into the OEM Airbox. And what we're looking at right now is a graph of all 4 of those on the screen. All of the blue data points are with the duct. All of the gray data points are without the duct. The hottest temp is gonna be the engine bay temp. The next hottest is the intake air temp post filter. And then the bottom 2 are gonna be ambient and Airbox bottom temps. So those are the 2 or 4 lines at the bottom. Then we have the 4 lines at the top, which are intake air temp, post filter, and engine bay temp. Moving on to the next graph, we kind of break it down a little bit more, which helps differentiate the data. So right this moment, we're looking at post-filter intake air temp, and I believe this arguably is the most important number of this graph. So we have an ambient temp that is roughly 2 degrees Celsius different. So when we were testing the intake air temp post-filter, the ambient temp was actually hotter. So we can actually assume that the intake air temp post-filter should actually be a little bit cooler if the ambient temp was the same between the two tests. We did test this about an hour, hour and a half between the two tests, just how the day ended up running. And that's why that ambient temperature isn't the same. So looking at the intake air temp post filter, we can see that there's a gigantic, well, at least in my opinion, a large difference in intake air temp. You're looking at something about 12 degrees Celsius difference throughout the entire lap. Again, this is about lap 6 of 7 laps on track. So we were seeing a normalized temperature for the car as far as heat goes, and the intake air temp substantially cooler with our intake air temp, or our inlet duct. And that's basically because we're throwing cold air straight at the filter. Now, because it's an open element, it's still able to pool some hot air from the engine bay, which makes sense. It's a wide open air filter. The factory Airbox does a lot better job of keeping this heat out of the intake intake temps, and we may go back to it at another time. We do believe that the factory intake does a better job at actually keeping that heat out of the inlet temps. It's a sealed unit, it's plastic, which actually rejects heat really well, and it's not sucking hot air from the engine bay. We currently are. Again, it sounds really awesome though. So, next data. We have the bottom of the OEM Airbox temperature with our intake and without our intake. You can tell that, again, the ambient temp was about 1.5 to 2 degrees hotter for the test with the inlet duct open. And you can tell that the bottom of the Airbox is running about 4 degrees Celsius, give or take, hotter with the duct blocked off. This matters because the inlet or the intake is actually pulling air from this area, so that 4 degrees is quite a bit, is beneficial. Not as important as, say, the intake air temps post-filter on the previous graph. And the final graph that we've done is the engine bay temp. So by blowing cold air into the engine bay, we're gonna obviously reduce some of the temps throughout the engine bay itself. Now, that could or probably isn't ideal for aerodynamics because we're actually putting pressurized air into the engine bay, but for right this moment, we'll ignore that. We're gonna look at engine bay no duct, which is running, we're gonna go with 10 degrees Celsius hotter, give or take. And again, because we're blowing cold air from the front of the car straight at the intake and the engine bay in general, we're dropping that temp in the engine bay, which is, I guess, a win depending on which way you're going, aerodynamics or engine power related. To conclude, our recommendation is to run the OEM Airbox as long as you can. Now, if you're making more power than the OEM Airbox can handle, you have to run an open inlet or open air filter, we would recommend our intake duct either way. Our intake duct dramatically reduces temps of the post-filter intake temps, and that is what at the end of the day matters. We're always interested in hearing questions and trying to test other things in the future, within reason, of course. I'm Eric with Verus. Thanks for watching. Until next time.